Hey gamers, so in today's discussion video, I want to talk about all the Switch 2 edition games, along with the upgrade packs, free performance updates, all that sort of stuff, and also my wish list for certain games I hope get the same treatment. So yeah, let's just jump right into it, shall we? So I'm going to be following a Nintendo Life article here that was, I think, last updated Wednesday at 3:34 a.m. Which, as of me recording this video, it is Friday at 1 a.m. So, pretty recent. Now, I'm just gonna be kind of skimming over it because it has, a lot of words, but, you'll get the gist of it. So, first and foremost, I should clarify that there's different types of upgrades for the Switch 2. There's the paid ones, which kind of offer, like, DLC and, like, more advanced stuff, like, I don't know, 4K or 60 frames or 120 frames or something like that, some higher advanced stuff. Those are the things that cost money, and they cost like usually $10, though there's some that are like $20, like Kirby and Mario Party. But yeah, the Switch 2 edition games that are paid for upgrades right now are Fantasy Life, The Girl Who Steals Time, Kirby, like I mentioned, the Forgotten Land, Metroid Prime 4, Pokemon Legends ZA, Rune Factory, Guardians of Azuma, Sid Meier's Civilization 7, Story of Seasons, Grand Bazaar, Mario Party, like we mentioned, and then Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Now, the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom ones are going to be free if you're part of the expansion pack Switch Online service, which is pretty cool. But the ones that are actually free are a decent bit of them, which we technically don't know exactly what these updates are adding. Some of them are adding like game chat, game share, maybe something like HDR or something for a lot of these games, or improved frame rate. But anyway, the games that are getting free updates are ARMS, Big Brain Academy, Captain Toad, Clubhouse Games, Game Builder Garage, New Super Mario Bros. U, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which is very much needed, 3D World, Mario Odyssey, and then Echoes of Wisdom and Link's Awakening. So these are free upgrades, and I think most of these are going to be basic, like, upgrades to either like improve like the frame rate or add HDR. Like I said earlier, though, they will also probably add for some games add like mouse mode. Like I think they will add mouse mode for like Captain Toad, maybe Big Brain Academy, Game Builder Garage, especially for something like Game Builder Garage. That already supports like a mouse, you can plug it in on your current Switch. So I think we will see that for that game in particular. But those are all the stuff we have confirmed right now. But I really hope to see a couple of big titles on here eventually, such as adding mouse mode to heckin' Mario Maker 2. Please get an update. It will work perfectly for level design. One of the big things people complain about with Mario Maker 2, besides the amiibo costumes being gone, is that making levels in that game, especially in TV mode, it's like really cumbersome. It's not really enjoyable. You can get by with it fine enough, and it's better in handheld mode, but it's still not as good as it was on Wii U. With the mouse thing, it would actually work really well. It might be close or maybe even better than how it worked on Wii U. I would love to see that game get updated. Maybe one reason why it wouldn't get updated would be because of they're making a Mario Maker 3 that will incorporate this, and maybe they will also incorporate this for like 3D levels, because I think it will make a lot of sense for Mario Maker 3 to be Mario Maker 3D, and that's how you make 3D levels, maybe based on Mario 64. You can use the mouse mode because you need more precise inputs, but I would still love to see it, like, test it out with Mario Maker 2. That's what they have done before. Nintendo has put out updates to test features out for previous games, like Mario Party. They added online for Super Mario Party, like the first game, like 2 years after it released, in preparation for Mario Party Superstars, which had online from the get-go. So there's precedent, so I would love to see that. Of course, I'm a big Xenoblade fan. I want all the Xenoblade games to get performance updates or Switch 2 editions, whatever. When I'm asking for like Switch 2 editions, I'm kind of like talking like in a blanket term, where I'm fine with them just like improving the frame rate. With some cases, with Mario Maker, I really want the mouse mode though. Of course, I would like new content for Mario Maker 2. Come on, give us the second game style that's missing. Hey, maybe that will be Mario 64. Finally added to Mario Maker 2 with the mouse mode included. New level designs, yay. But I don't expect that. If they do update Mario Maker 2, I think it will just be mouse mode. But anyway, I would like new content, but I'm fine with just the basic updates. But with the Switch 2 versions of the Xenoblade games, I would like them to, of course, boost the frame rate as well. Just do some enhances here and there. I'm not like complaining or want Nintendo to do it. I see some people say, oh, Xenoblade needs that patch, because it runs horribly, 30 frames is unplayable, blah blah blah. I never really have a problem with Xenoblade with like the frame rate or whatever. The only game I had a problem with was Xenoblade 2, and that's because it crashed way more than you would think, like every so often, but still. I would like them to fix that for like the Switch 2 update. And I know the games in handheld mode don't look the best, but I found them fine. Especially Xenoblade 2, I hear that's not the greatest in handheld mode, so I would like to see them do that. But I really want them to, most of these I hope are free upgrades. I really think all of these should be free in my opinion. Maybe for the more advanced stuff, it could be locked behind Switch Online, the things to add like, extra content. Like give me the Kirby and Mario Party thing also for Switch Online, like expansive pack. That would be really cool. But I wish all of these were technically free, but they're not, sadly. But, I want all the Xenoblade stuff to be free, except for Xenoblade 2, because I think, like I mentioned, that game could really use more help, and they could do an epilogue style thing, just like what they're doing with Kirby and Mario Party. They could have DLC for an epilogue, when you upgrade for the Switch 2 version, which will probably be like $20, because that's the Mario Party and Kirby thing is $20. So I would like to see that, and then they could implement maybe the other side of the future connected story, where we saw with Sulk dealing with the Fog Beast in, Xenoblade 1 Definitive Edition. We could see Xenoblade 2, deal with that, like the aftermath of the story, how Rex and his crew deal with the Fog Beast. I'm trying to be kind of vague when I'm talking about the story, because, my God, the games are so good. But I would like to see that. But of course, but beyond that, I want to see, the usual upgrade stuff. And I do think it's possible we will at least get this to some extent, especially because Xenoblade X, there was like a data mine where people found out that there's a 60 FPS mode that doesn't do anything right now, but they were testing it out. The developers clearly for something. And I think they were testing it out for Switch 2. So I would like them to do that. And I think they will do it at least for Xenoblade X, especially because, it came out close to when the Switch 2 was officially revealed and showcased at the beginning of April. It came out at the end of March. So I think it's possible for at least that game, but I would like them to do it with the other games. And of course, I gotta bring up Splatoon 2, Splatoon 3. I want them to add mouse controls as well. Now, I talked about this on like a live stream, how they could do it. And it seemed like most of you guys would have preferred the Splatoon 4 to come out, and have like a mouse mode. But I think they could test it out with the current Splatoon games, and then they can do it with Splatoon 4 in like an expanded level. That would be really cool. So funny story, guys. As of me recording this video, I paused the recording of the first half of this video because I wanted to look up some other games I would like to see, have Switch 2 updates or whatever. And I thought I was recording my thoughts of it, and I wasn't. That's like the first time that's happened where I was talking for like, it wasn't that long. It was like 2 or 3 minutes, but still, I recorded like, and I was about to do the outro when I realized, oh, I'm an idiot. I forgot. Anyway, like I was saying in that part, I'm so dumb, man. But anyway, other games that I hope to see have like Switch 2 updates include like Fire Emblem, include the Warrior games, Pikmin, Luigi's Mansion 3. I would like to see those games to have like Switch 2 updates, because I'm not really the type of person, again, that really likes to complain. I'm not a frame rate snob that's like, oh, the frame rate sucks, it's only 30 frames, it's too choppy, blah blah blah. I am mostly fine with it. I don't really notice it too much. Sometimes it's more noticeable than other times, but I usually am fine with it. But for the people that do notice it, I do want them to have that update. That would be really cool. Oh, another game I just thought of right now, which I think it's kind of like soft confirmed it is getting an update, is Animal Crossing, because we saw it being used with the game share game chat thing in the Nintendo Direct, but it's not listed in this Nintendo Life article. So I guess it's not officially confirmed it's getting it, but it is. You need an update for that. So it's at least getting those added features. But maybe we could get some new content. Animal Crossing 3.0. Maybe we'll get the other half of the museum filled. Because it's the roost on one side and then the other side is just nothing. So maybe they could add something there. One can only dream to be symmetrical. But going back to the, original games I shared, it's not to say that all of these games I listed, need the help. Some games like Splatoon, like Luigi's Mansion 3, they run pretty great. They're pretty smooth. But I think these updates for Switch 2 could really help them even more so, either by adding new content or new ways to play, again, mouse mode, or improving the visuals just a little bit more, even if they're not needed. So yeah, I'm hoping, I do kind of expect a lot of these games to eventually get Switch 2 updates, because I feel like the current list we have right now, it's only like, like wave 1, just so few games, and the Switch 1 has like a big library. They could tap a lot of big franchises to do decent upgrades, just simple frame rate boost or whatever, or some bigger stuff, like I talked about with Xenoblade 2. I think they could really do something there, make it like a definitive edition without having us to buy the full game again. That would be kind of cool. Which, real quick, I didn't really touch on this, but there are some companies that are not doing this upgrade path, which is so dumb, and you do have to buy the full game again. Hopefully Nintendo never does this. Companies such as Sega, with Sonic X Shadow Generations, there's the Switch 2 version of that game coming out, that already came out on Switch 1. But you cannot upgrade to that version. You have to buy it separately for like $60. And Hogwarts Legacy is kind of similar, although there is like a discount, like I think 10 or 20, I don't know exactly. I saw conflicting reports. But you do get like a significant discount if you own the Switch 1 version of Hogwarts Legacy, but still it's not like a direct upgrade, It's just, oh my god, so annoying. So hopefully Nintendo never does this, just have an upgrade path to have like a definitive edition update. That would be really neat. Oh, one more thing before I forget. I'm just like thinking of stuff before I end off the video. Otherwise known as procrastination. No. But there was a thing I wanted to talk about with the fact that, again, Nintendo is being so confusing with the Switch 2. I mean, their, strategy with it is just so, like, what's going on? The communication is bad. And this is the same case, with these updates. Some people think all Switch 2 updates are paid. Some people think you can play the Switch 1 games without upgrading to the Switch 2 version. That's not the case, But I don't blame people for getting confused or complaining at Nintendo, because it is their fault for not being direct about this sort of stuff. I just kind of wanted to touch on it, and I don't really blame companies either for, like, choosing to be, like, different, like, some doing upgrade packs, some of them selling the game separately, because Nintendo is just, like, all over the place, they don't have a standard, but I talked about that in, like, some other videos, Nintendo's, communication is dumb lately. I just wanted to touch on it in this video, but I think that's going to be it for real this time, guys. Let me know if you guys have any ideas for Switch 2 upgrades for your Switch 1 games. Do you have any games that I missed? Let me know in the comments down below, but I hope you enjoyed this video. I hate that I had to re-record that ending part. I basically shared a lot of the same stuff, so I just repeated myself, but you guys will never see that because I never recorded it. I thought I was. Anyway, I'm done rambling. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, subscribe, play some Xenoblade, and I'll catch you all next time for more. Peace. Bye, everyone.